to News Hour. Coming up in this edition, citizens express mixed feelings on the passing of the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2025. Ministry of Environment and Climate Change consults stakeholders on proposed climate legislation. And Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency hands over motorcycles to Sierra Leone police to boost border security. All these and more lined up in this edition of News Hour. Stay with us for the next hour. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamara. First, the news are tonight. Some citizens in Freetown have expressed mixed reactions on the passing of the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2025. While some welcome the move as timely and necessary, others raise concerns about its impact on governance and democracy.
If they start with this system, yeah, if no, you don't feel say it creates problem to the people. Now how? Now, for example, we get some honorable them where they say now when make the constituency level fine, the honorable the people them will hold them accountable at the end of the day, because now we choose you, now this person we want, now we vote for. But now with this proportional representation, you know what, get nothing for that, because you go take and say no more, hence in the party no more they focus. Hence you work well with the party, so the people if they want them vote for if they are the left, hence the party don't go present at the end of the day. So this they affect you.
It's a kudos to the members of parliament for the review of the 1991 constitution. Of course, we know that there have been a lot of challenge in the constitution when it comes to the implementation of certain laws, and those laws are taking decades for them to be reviewed. And if parliament has finally reviewed it, I will have to say a kudos to them for a job well done.
As we understand, say the type of party has 50 plus 1. But as you understand the way they want pass anything, you like for example SLPP, then you need certain amount of people in the position plus the chiefs them for now not able to pass. But what you see the opposition commander, then still the bill go on. That shows say the ruling party then are the one impose something. But if you want impose something for benefit of the country, all the parties they move for involved and let it go. If you need to continue, the ruling government then go on for the benefit of it. They are not only the benefit of the people.
Anybody so far, like the minister of the one that are representing their parliament and then submit amendment of constitution. The one thing that they take on the law, let them amend something where they affect the country. Let them bring law where they say they elect as is really understand? They really not to focus on how they present it now. They don't do something where they it's like it affects all man.
Views of citizens on the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2025. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Change and partners have held consultations with stakeholders on the Climate Change Bill 2026. The one-day Western Area Urban Stakeholder Consultation brought together representatives from government, parliament, civil society, the private sector, and other key institutions to deliberate on the proposed legislation, which seeks to strengthen Sierra Leone's response to climate change.
The consultation was part of a wider process involving stakeholders across the country with the aim of ensuring that the proposed legislation reflects Sierra Leone's local realities on climate change and priorities on how to respond to it. It also seeks to promote transparency and accountability in the mobilization and use of climate resources. The Ministry of Environment draft legislation on climate change is expected to provide the legal ground rules for environmental interventions in Sierra Leone. According to the Deputy Director General and Head of Operations of the Sierra Leone Meteorological Agency, Gabriel Parker, the legislation will help consolidate climate-related actions across different sectors while providing clearer regulations and mandates for institutions involved in climate response.
Because the Act is going to serve as a ground rules when it comes to interventions for climate change actions. Because, in Sierra Leone, climate change is cross-cutting. The Met Agency has a kind of a lateral role within the climate change space where we provide scientific guidance. But also, that we have other institutions that also provide some climate change intervention. And also, for me, as the UNEP focal point for Sierra Leone, I think it's very much imperative for us to have the Act, because normally when you have this Act, it's also going to give birth to regulations that's going to shape our action when it comes to climate-related issues in Sierra Leone.
The proposed legislation is also expected to establish a coordinated institutional framework for climate action and strengthen the capacity for both national and local institutions. Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Jiwo Emmanuel Abdullahi, called on stakeholders to actively participate in the consultative process, stressing that the success of the legislation will depend on meaningful engagement and broad ownership.
Well, the laws of the land cannot be looked at in isolation. So this one really focuses on climate action, but it touches it cuts across all of government. It cuts across the entire economy, because climate change affects everyone. It affects every sector. It affects roads, it affects transportation, it affects energy, it affects our schools, it affects our hospitals. And that's why we want to ensure that all sectors have a say in what goes into a law like this, because it affects the entire society.
During the consultation, stakeholders were also presented with the draft Climate Change Bill 2026 that seeks to transition Sierra Leone towards a resilient, low-carbon economy by integrating climate action into sectoral policies, plans and programs. The bill proposes a comprehensive institutional arrangement for climate governance while strengthening national and local capacities to respond to climate-related challenges. For SLBC News, Alwyn Roy Fox reporting.
AfriCell's AfriMoney has launched its Next of Kin service. The initiative is aimed at helping customers to protect and facilitate access to information about their mobile money accounts in the event of death or incapacitation. The service allows AfriMoney subscribers to designate a next of kin while emphasizing the need for customers to keep their personal information and KYC details accurate and up to date. Esther Nene Kamara has more.
The Next of Kin service is designed to provide a clear process for dealing with customers' mobile money accounts when they are deceased or unable to access their wallets due to incapacitation. The initiative is aimed at addressing concerns from customers and families about what happens to funds held in mobile money wallets when an account holder is no longer available to manage the account. According to the CEO of AfriMoney, Matheson Obeng Age, the service operates within the regulatory framework of the central bank and forms part of customers' account information. He encouraged customers to ensure that their mobile money wallets are registered with their correct personal information, including their name, date of birth, and address before designating a next of kin.
Please, a word of advice: when you are updating your next of kin, please try as much as possible and put the name of somebody who is 18 years and above. That person has legal status. If you go and put your 3-year-old daughter now, That 3-year-old daughter doesn't have the capacity to administer your next of kinship. Somebody else has to take charge of that, and it might be the person you don't want to be doing it.
The CEO clarified that being listed as a next of kin does not automatically make a person entitled to withdraw or receive the funds in the deceased customer's wallet. He further emphasized that customers have the opportunity to change their nominated next of kin whenever their circumstances change.
The next of kin doesn't mean that whatever money is on your wallet, you are going to carry it and give it to the person immediately the person shows up. Say, hey, my mommy na auntie Nancy, me na the next of kin, so can you give me the money on the wallet? It doesn't work like that. There have to be adequate proof of either death or incapacity. So you have to be incapacitated for us to be able to hand that money over.
AfriMoney is also warning customers against allowing relatives or other individuals to register mobile money accounts using their personal details. It therefore called on customers to update their KYC information and nominate a next of kin, stressing that proper planning could help families navigate financial matters more easily in the event of death or incapacitation. For SLBC, Estanine Kamara reporting.
President Julius Maada Bio has announced a number of new appointments to key government ministries, departments, and agencies. Among the appointments, Karifa Kagbo has been named Minister of Finance, while Mohamed Rahman Suare has been appointed Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Umaru Napoleon Koroma is a new Minister of Employment, Labor, and Social Security. Other appointments include Geneva Bangura as Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Stephen Josu as Deputy Minister of Energy 2, and Fode Musa Fofana as Deputy Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. At the National Revenue Authority, Abu Kane has been appointed Commissioner General, while Edmond Noni becomes Deputy Commissioner General 2. Professor Fode Jawad has been appointed Sierra Leone's ambassador to Qatar. The president has also appointed Sheikh Fantamadi Bangura and Timothy Musa Kaba as presidential advisors. In other appointments, Dr. Sati Kene becomes chairman of the National Public Health Agency, whilst Dr. Donald Alpha Bashtaki has been appointed chairman of the Tobacco and Nicotine Control Council. Professor Jibril Fadluddin has been also appointed chairman of the Teaching Hospitals Complex Administration Board. The appointments are subject to parliamentary approval where required. The appointments also form part of President Bio's latest changes to the leadership of key government institutions and are expected to strengthen the administration's capacity to deliver on its national priorities. The Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency has handed over 10 brand new motorcycles to the Sierra Leone police. It was part of its efforts to enhance police mobility and strengthen security operations in the border stations across Sierra Leone. Abdul Mansari reports.
The initiative serves as a significant boost to the operation capacity of the Sierra Leone police. The Turkish ambassador to Sierra Leone, Yusuf Burak Rendi, expressed appreciation to the Inspector General of Police, William Fayaselu, for such an opportunity to cooperate with the security sector.
Been here with 10 motorcycles for the mobility of the Sierra Leonean police. And this is a great example of our willingness to cooperate with Sierra Leone as two equal sovereign nations between two amazing people.
Inspector General of Police William Fayaselu described the donation as timely, noting it had come at the time when the police were facing significant mobility challenges, particularly in border areas. He noted that effective policing requires officers to move quickly and respond to accidents, especially in remote communities and along the country's borders. IGP expressed appreciation to TICA and the Turkish government for their continued support to the Sierra Leone police. Deputy Superintendent of Police, Mila Bangura, said mobility remains crucial to effective policing, particularly in areas where officers have to cover different terrain.
You will all agree with me that, response time is very important. And so providing such a gift to the police will increase the ability for us to respond quickly to some of the difficulties our people may face. Assuming you receive a complaint and you are not mobile, it will tend to deter your response.
The initiative forms part of the broader cooperation between Sierra Leone and Turkey in the areas of security and capacity building. SLBC News, Abdul Mansari reporting.
The outgoing executive director of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Andrew Jaya Kaikai, has said that the destruction of 396 cartons of tramadol demonstrated the government's commitment to combating drug trafficking and protecting national security. He made the statement during the burning of narcotic and pharmaceutical drugs at Toku headquarters. Abdul Mansari witnessed the exercise and now reports.
The burning exercise of 396 cartons of tramadol and pharmaceutical drugs, including 20 cartons of Poxa tablets, was the fourth time this year. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Sierra Leone Police, ONS, and Transnational Organized Crime Unit, TOKU, have taken such move to destroy illegal and harmful substances. The head of TOKU, Chief Superintendent of Police, Michael Laga, described the exercise as an important demonstration of transparency and accountability in the handling of destruction of confiscated narcotics. He said the coordinated operation reflects the government's determination to disrupt criminal networks involved in the trafficking of illicit drugs and other forms of transnational organized crime.
Drug trafficking remains one of the greatest threats to national security. It fuels organized crime, corruption, violence, money laundering, and destruction of countless young lives. As law enforcement officers and stakeholders, we remain resolute in disrupting criminal networks, bringing offenders to justice, and protecting our borders and communities.
Meanwhile, the outgoing executive director of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Andrew Jaya Kaikai, reaffirmed the government's commitment to fighting the illicit drug trade through enforcement, community engagement, and international cooperation.
To continue or are bent on this illicit drug trade, we will go after you. We will not get tired. As Mr. Laga said earlier in his statement, it doesn't matter what the weather is like, under rain, under sun, we are there to fight. And we will continue to fight.
The public destruction exercise also provided authorities with an opportunity to reassure citizens that confiscated drugs are being handled transparently and in accordance with established procedures. Officials reiterated that the fight against drug trafficking requires sustained cooperation among national security institutions, communities, international partners, and the public. SLBC News, Abdul Mansari reporting.
Every birth should be registered, every death should be counted, and every person should be recognized before the law. That was the message from the Director General of the National Civil Registration Authority, as Sierra Leone joined the rest of the world, Africa, to commemorate the 9th Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day. The occasion highlighted how legal identity is changing the lives of citizens while setting expectations for the new CRVS decade from 2027 to 2036. Esther Sako reports.
For many families, registering a child's birth may appear to be simple administrative exercise, but behind every birth certificate is a child's identity, right and access to opportunities. That is the human significance of civil registration and vital statistics as Sierra Leone commemorates Africa CRVS Day under the theme, the new CRVS 2027 to 2036, consolidating the gains of API CRVS and securing the future of CRVS in Africa through integration, decentralization and digitalization. The Director General of the National Civil Registration Authority, Mohamed Massakoy, says Sierra Leone has made significant progress over the past decade, moving from fragmented registration systems towards an integrated civil registration, vital statistics and identity management system. It says about 93% of the population has been registered, with individuals assigned a unique national identification number, while the authority has expanded biometric identity services and digital registration.
Decentralizing CRVS services remains central to our government's determination to account for every resident in Sierra Leone. The NCRA has already established functional offices and access points across every region, district and populated communities in Sierra Leone, working alongside health facilities to deliver birth registration and other identity-related services, with plans to extend even further down to the world.
The Electoral Commission for Sierra Leone and the World Bank also underscored the importance of collaboration with NCRA, noting that reliable identity information supports their work and helps strengthen systems that protect citizens. Both institutions pledge continued support to ensure the process advances smoothly. But while technology and integration are transforming the system, speakers at the commemoration stress that the real test is whether these services reach the ordinary children and family. UNICEF's Chief of Child Protection, Patrick Halton, says birth registration gives children legal recognition and can help protect them from exploitation, child marriage, trafficking, and other forms of abuse.
Moving forward, birth registration services must be fully integrated into the systems families use every day, including maternity services, health services, immunisation programs, and community health platforms. Services must be decentralised so families do not have to travel long distances to register their children.
For the children themselves, the issue is deeply personal. Representing the Children's Forum Network, Mary Julia said, a birth certificate is more than a piece of paper. It is a proof that a child exists, belongs to a family, and is recognized by the state. She called on parents to register their children early and urged the NCRA to continue taking services to add to rich communities. As Sierra Leone consolidates the gains already made, the expectation is that the next decade would bring civil registration even closer to the people so that every birth is recognized, every life is counted, and no one is left behind. SLBC News, Esther Sako reporting.
Stakeholders implementing the Sierra Leone Guinea Forest Child Project are being urged to strengthen coordination, collaboration, and integrated programming to ensure the effective management and conservation of Sierra Leone's critical forest landscapes. The call was made during Partners Coordination and Planning Workshop, which brings together government institutions and other implementing partners to clarify roles, coordinate activities, and strengthen collective action in addressing biodiversity loss, climate change, land degradation, and pollution. Esther Nene Kamara tells us more.
The Sierra Leone Kenyan Forest Child Project has entered its implementation phase following years of consultations, project design, and development. The project brought together 7 implementing partners working across different areas of environmental protection with the aim of promoting coordinated action in the management of Sierra Leone's critical forest landscapes. Executive Chairman, Environmental Protection Agency, Abubakar Masakoi, said the successful implementation will require deliberate and continuous communication and collaboration at both national and regional levels. He acknowledged that partners may have different perspectives during implementation, but emphasized that the common objectives should remain the protection of the environment, conservation of biodiversities, and improvement of the well-being of communities that depend on these landscapes.
Yeah. Specifically for the Giant project, one of the things key that we are going to be doing is to go through the project, understand the intervention modalities, where the points of coordinations are, who is implementing what activity, and the general institutional coordination mechanism, which is critical as an inception to project implementation.
Stakeholders stressed the need for partners to coordinate closely, particularly on forest zoning, certification, and restoration. They emphasized that effective forest conservation requires collaboration among governments, conservation organizations, civil society, communities, and other stakeholders.
Despite all of the benefits we are gaining from the greater Angola landscape, as stated by Bob Steve, there are still threats to it. So coming together, this kind of partnership to help protect it, we view it as a way to reinforce our mission, which is protecting the integrity of the Gola rainforest, and also to support forest edge communities who are the main guards of the forest.
So this project, based on what the main activities and objectives are, I see that there is a great deal of alignment with some of the requirements to build, strengthen capacity, governance, and also understand a little bit more about the economy of biodiversity in that area. How can you make a compelling argument to national planners to let the forest be, because they're more profitable to the country standing than destroyed. And there's a lot of other things that this project creates possibilities for.
The project is therefore designed around an integrated programming approach, encouraging government institutions, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders to work together, share information, coordinate activities, and make collective decisions. For SLBC, Estanene Kamara reporting.
The outgoing Minister of Employment, Labour and Social Security, Mohamed Rahman Swari, had assured NASET of the readiness of the Informal Sector Bill and the Linking Bill, which he said awaits parliamentary review. He made the assurance during the handing over of office from the outgoing Director General of NASET to the newly appointed NASET Director General. Sulaiman Babaturi reports.
I am personally gratified as I'm overwhelmed today to hand over this institution to Mr. Cherno Mjalo.
While speaking as the Minister of Employment, Labour and Social Security, Mohamed Rahman Swari emphasized the institution's core mandate, which is to administer Sierra Leone's national pension scheme, and informed NASET about the informal sector and the linking bill, which we are ready to go through parliamentary review to strengthen social security in Sierra Leone.
Because we had very little or no social security experience at the time, we linked social security benefit payments to minimum wage increases. Yeah. So Cabinet has officially delinked that. So that too is waiting for for its normal journey.
He commended the outgoing Director General for his outstanding stewardship throughout his tenure, congratulating the incoming Director. The outgoing Director General of NASIT, Mohamed Fuad Dabo, expressed gratitude for serving an institution which mandate is to safeguard the welfare and future security of thousands of Sierra Leoneans. During his tenure as Director General, Mr. Dabo said he executed the mobilization of NASIT through technology for efficient, transparent, and service delivery, and the expansion of social security coverage by developing a draft bill, among others.
This project, the informal sector scheme, will not only change the life and conditions of our people, our compatriots in the informal economy, but it will be a landmark delivery of the minister to see the informal sector established that will look after our colleagues in the informal economy. And of course, by extension, a big gain to this government.
The new NASIT Director General, Cherno Jallo, pledged transparency, accountability, sound corporate governance, and strategic leadership.
NASIT is entrusted with something extremely important: the contributions and future security of workers and pensioners in this country. Every contribution represents someone's hard work. Every pension represents someone's dignity after years of service. That is why we must run this institution with integrity, professionalism, accountability, and prudence.
Both the outgoing and incoming chairpersons of the NASIT Board of Trustees pledged to share experience and work together anytime the need arises. Secretary to the President, Baba Fortune, said the President was aware that a lot of lives look forward to get their NASIT upon retirement. He congratulated the new NASIT DG, saying the expectations are high, so a lot are expected of them. SLBC News, Sulaiman Babatue reporting.
A major boost to rural water and sanitation services is taking shape in Kenema District, with 70 new water points and 5 sanitation facilities now handed over to communities, schools, and health facilities. The facilities provided through Gold Sierra Leone with support from Charity Water and other partners are expected to improve public health and ease the burden on communities that have for years struggled with inadequate wash services. Esther Sako has more.
Upon that, I'll cut the first tape and officially hand over to the chiefs to open up the facility.
70 water points and 5 sanitation facilities have now been officially handed over to communities across Kenema District, marking another milestone in Gold Sierra Leone's Rural Wash program. The facilities include water points serving communities, schools, and health facilities, with the intervention expected to benefit thousands of people. For the people of communities in Kenema District, the solarized water points handed over is more than a ceremony. It was the beginning of a new chapter for communities that have waited for reliable water services to become parts of their everyday lives. For some families, access to a nearby water point means less time spent searching for water. For schools and health facilities, it means improved conditions for pupils, patients, and health workers.
We will go forget water, not water, so we can walk away. But now, we go, they get free.
Before, my morning starts at 5 a.m. searching for water. Now, the tap is few minutes from my house. That extra time means I can get my children ready for school and I'm not exhausted before the day even starts. We will protect it because it's protecting us.
They go get water, where they go no more, they get quick, they cannot use.
Programs Director Gold Sierra Leone Getu Dibella says since 2018, Gold Sierra Leone, with support from Charity Water, has constructed hundreds of water points across Kenema District, stating the intervention brings the number of water points constructed by Gold Sierra Leone in the district to 731, extending access to some of the district's most vulnerable communities.
It also meant going beyond the water point by promoting improved sanitation through community-led total sanitation, supporting sanitation market development, and working alongside government partners to strengthen the systems that underpin the entire sector.
For Gold Sierra Leone's country director James Riak, the real measure of success will not be today's handing over, but whether the facilities continue serving communities in the years ahead. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Sao Pato Anna Isata McCarthy, welcomed the intervention, describing partnership between government and development organizations as important in expanding access to water and sanitation services.
As a government, we are committed to delivering on our promise and to assure the people of this chiefdom that His Excellency's government will continue to provide the necessary services to make their lives better.
The Kenema District Council and other development partners also pledged their continued support to Gold Sierra Leone and similar initiatives, particularly in ensuring that communities can sustain the facilities after project implementation. As the formal handover comes to an end, the responsibility now shifts largely to the communities, protecting the water points, contributing towards maintenance, and ensuring that the facilities remain accessible will be key to preserving the gains made. SLBC News, Esther Sako reporting.
You're watching News Hour coming to you live on SLBC Television in Freetown. We continue with more stories. The National Youth Commissioner has promised to support 8,000 Sierra Leonean youths with grants in 3 weeks' time to help them create and grow their businesses. As it stands, the Commission has supported about 4,000 youths out of 8,000. Sulaiman Babature reports.
The Productive Social Safety Net and Youth Empowerment Project stands as a life-changing initiative.
A part of government employment strategy to achieve the Big Five game changers is to create 500,000 jobs for citizens by 2030. To ensure such is achieved, the National Youth Commission was established to empower and cater for young people in the country. According to the National Youth Commissioner, Joseph Madalahai, the Commission is actively in pursuit of its mandates. Upon his appointment, he said they designed a baseline tool to capture staff expectations, performance enablers, and capacity needs, which later became their compass. He said 98% of his staff now report for work on time, and they have established 3 directorates. Joseph Madalahai said they were rehabilitating the Obasanjo Skills Training College, awarding TVET scholarship to people in rural communities, empowering youth with maritime skills, and extended partnership with IOM and Leon Rock, among others. The Commissioner said they have supported about 4,000 youth out of 8,000 with grants and promised to complete the 8,000 target in 3 weeks' time.
These projects are not merely programs. They are engines of job creation, youth empowerment, and economic diversification. They open new pathways beyond traditional employment, ensuring our young people can thrive across diverse industries. 700 vessels. By law, every vessel carries 2 people. That is 1,400 automatic jobs.
A presentation was done on the Commission's strategic plan, which entails 5 thematic areas, including organizational and institutional development, youth employment and employability, youth civic engagement, governance, rule of law and technology, digital innovation, partnership, networking and revenue mobilization, and health, well-being and civic education.
We have expanded digital skills program nationwide. We have strengthened civic engagement activities. We have encouraged safe migration pathways. We have identified employment pathways that are already benefiting our youth. Distinguished guests, youth empowerment cannot be carried by the Commission alone. It requires collective strength.
Among their challenges are limited financial resources, increasing demand for youth employment opportunities, fragmented labor market information, and evolving development priorities. The Commission pledged to expand on youth employment, accelerate digital transformation, and consolidate institutional reforms. SLBC News, Sulaiman Babature reporting.
The The Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, ARSLAF, says 61 of its personnel from the rank of Lance Corporal to Colonel are being processed for various training programs in China for the 2026-2027 academic year. The Chief of General Staff, Major General Sir David Thomas Gauja, made the announcement during a reception at the Chinese Embassy in Freetown to mark the 99th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. The training will cover areas including medicine, nursing, defense and strategic studies, command and staff operations, engineering and communications. The Ministry of Defense has also commended China for its continued support to ARSLAF, including the provision of engineering equipment and military infrastructure. The ARSLAF says the support has helped it construct and rehabilitate more than 150 kilometers of roads across the country over the years. Well, it's now time for our segment, and we start with the international news update.
Thanks for joining me. This is the international news with me, Yusuf Mosirisma. Israeli security forces were reported to have withdrawn from the Jewish settler outpost in the village of Nablus, following clashes with a crowd of extremist settlers. After the Palestinian homeowners made their initial reports to the Israel army, the first soldiers who arrived at the scene were filmed praying with the settlers. According to the UN's figures, 76 Palestinians, including 18 children, have been killed in the West Bank this year by Israeli forces and settlers. Speaking at the UN meeting, Israel's ambassador to the UN, Dani, dismissed the idea that settlements were an obstacle to peace. He said they would remain and continue to grow as its country had biblical, historic, and legal rights to the land. 6 people have been killed and 10 injured in strikes by Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis on a cargo ship in the Red Sea. It is according to the internationally recognized government of Yemen. The Transport Ministry said the vessel was hit with 3 ballistic missiles south of the port of Mosha, causing a fire on board and resulting in the death of 3 Pakistanis and 1 Indonesian. The latest attack comes after a years-long truce in Yemen's civil war between the Houthis and the South-backed internationally recognized governments collapsed last month. The Yemen government said the ship had been carrying food and that the attack on the commercial vessel marked an escalation in approach from the Houthis. Tens of thousands of supporters gathered in Lusaka for President Hakende's final campaign rally ahead of Thursday's election as the incumbent seeks a second term amid concerns over jobs, living costs, and allegations of opposition intimidation. The 64-year-old president, who took office in 2021, urged voters to back the UPND in elections. The president is seeking another 5-year term in a copper-rich country of 22 million people. Employment and the rising cost of living are among the main concerns for voters. The president has also highlighted free education as a major achievement of his first term. And finally, now to Zimbabwe, where at least 44 people have been confirmed dead after a ferry sank on Lake Kariba in Zimbabwe. This is according to police. The ferry had the capacity to carry 90 passengers and 5 crew members, but a lake officials had reported that 120 people, including 12 children, were on it. The vessel was hit by a strong wave and overturned. Local government minister Daniel Gawi said the president had declared a state of disaster to ensure all necessary resources are mobilized for search and rescue operations. The government extends its deepest condolences to the families and loved ones of those who have lost their lives in this tragic incident. And that is all we have for today's edition of the International News. And I've been your presenter. My name is Yusuf Mosirisma. Back to you, presenter.
Now to our final segment, the sports update.
to the sporting updates that keeps you in the know. And football is like school and will continue to remain a school for life. That is according to the former president of FIFA, Sepp Blatter. Now, Frabia community has secured all 3 points and the sport in the round of 16 in the Young Elephants Bet sponsored Central One Football Association Inter-Area League after thrashing Congo Town 3-0. And the first 3 goals were scored in the first half to ensure that the former champions moved atop of Group D. Alimami Conte has details.
It was a highly contested first 5 minutes, but Frabia community broke the deadlock in the 6th minute when Tapia pulled a low cross into the box. But the Congo Town community defense failed to clear the initial cross, which was met by Ali Adjust Kamara, whose shot was headed by Kande Touré to open the scoring for the former champions. Frobek community continued their relentless pressing on the Congo Town community defense. It paid off in the 16th minute when Aliou Adjust Kamara and Tapia combined beautifully to set up Ibrahim Essise, who unleashed a low thunderous shot to make it 2-0. Alex Perry nearly pulled one back for Congo Town community, but failed to find the top right corner of Mohamed Fabianski Kamara's goal. Minutes later, Frobek community punished the wasted opportunity when the ball was played over the defense for Ali Adjust Kamara, who was brought down, but the ball ricocheted off him to Kande Sise, who converted the chance in an open goal to make it 3-0. Congo Town community came into the second half with much more discipline and intensity, but could not find a consolation. Ali Adjust was named man of the match after his brilliant performance. The coach of Frabek community, Ibrahim Meza Kamara, thanked the community for their undying loyalty and support and complimented the mentality of his players to seal the victory before the break.
I think I feel good, because the community were the coach, the community were the issue final, so they get that mentality. So I believe Shadows is still for the players then, so they can play, they can play huge characters. Now I'm leading to this. Because Congo Town are a very good team.
A fan of Congo Town community said the community lost as a result of poor decisions from the technical team, but he was hopeful that the team would bounce back from the defeats.
One minute I fan, the coach and job. He qualified. But I the Anglo the watcher, not so in the watcher. But he made some selections, they win a bad selections. Then he defends. If you watch the goals, then all the ball will pass there in the final and they score all. So then this selection is economical for next game.
Congo Town community needs at least a point against Summer City to earn a spot in the round of 16, while Frabek community will be more relaxed when they take on Coleton in their final fixture.
In the international scene, the African Arm Wrestling Federation has announced that they're making an adjustment to the scheduled African Championship that's slated for Madagascar in 2027. The competition, which was built for originally in May, was slated now for July. This will give them an opportunity to get athletes around the world ready. And for Sierra Leone, Alfred Coker is super certain that he will have a field day when once that competition takes center stage. And all the best to Team Sierra Leone. That ends your update, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
And now to end the news, the main points again. Some citizens in Freetown have expressed mixed reactions to the passing of the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2025. While some welcome the move as timely and necessary, others raise concerns about its impact on governance and democracy. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Change and partners have held consultations with stakeholders on the Climate Change Bill 2026. The one-day session was to deliberate on the proposed legislation which seeks to strengthen Sierra Leone's response to climate change. The Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency has handed over 10 brand new motorcycles to the Sierra Leone Police. It was part of its efforts to enhance police mobility and strengthen security operations in border stations across Sierra Leone. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of News Hour. Thanks for joining us. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamar. Stay tuned to the SABC. Good night.